Hello, everyone, and welcome to Play Dicely After Party. My name is Christy Clow, and this is the talkback show where myself, my wonderful castmates, and the incredible DM of our adventure discuss the most recent episodes of Play Dicely, which is our actual play show that lives here on Twitch Sundays at 6 p.m. But sometimes it's not the Sunday you think it would be, so just follow our socials to know when the next one is, or hop in the Discord because that's the best place to hang out with us. Yes. Quick thank you to Tim from Tabletop Audio for the music that you'll be hearing if you're watching the VOD and not this live on the Play Dicely YouTube channel. And if you don't subscribe to that YouTube channel, go do it right now. I'll wait.
We're almost at 100 subs.
So, yeah, let's go. Come on.
Just gonna
so this week we have a hefty-ish one that we're going to try and not make super long, but we were discussing 3 episodes, episode 40, 41, and 42, which is Echoes in the Past, Dragon Home, and The Wolf and the Worm.
The Wolf
Very
and the
exciting.
Worm. I love that name.
I know, that title's so good. It really makes me think of some, like, kind of the kid's fable or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should write that.
We should. I was actually thinking we should write a book just for fun. So.
In real life?
Just
Just
books to insert into the lore.
Yeah.
Sure.
But they're real.
We have to actually write them? Okay.
Yeah,
That's
you know,
not
like
hard. It's a kid's book.
yeah, you know, like how Elder Scrolls has like the Alessia Argonian Maid. Like that's super famous.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Sure.
It's been a minute,
You get right on that.
Yeah.
So someone should do that.
We're about to go on vacation, so we'll have a week of just like
perfect.
not doing anything. So yeah.
Just let your mind wander.
It frequently does. I don't have to let it do anything. It's just gonna do it. So that's not a problem. Alrighty. So starting with the first episode, the first thing I wanted to discuss is the conversation between Elowyn and Abe, where you guys kind of show off the drawings that I made of your quote-unquote true selves, and then you discuss kind of the similarities between the two of you. So Dallis, I know this is a conversation you've wanted to have for a while. Why was it so meaningful for Elowyn to have that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, that's been on the list of conversations to have with Abe for like over a year. Like, it's just been sitting there. But yeah, I mean, I think that was the moment where it finally like kind of started to make sense to do it. Like, I think I wanted to, and then I just could never figure out a reason why we would have that conversation. So it suddenly made a lot of sense. It's interesting. It's one of those things where I feel like one of the like things I had with Elowyn was that I was so stressed about this when we were in like Ballenbridge, and I thought my sister and her family was going to show up. I was so much like, I do not want people to see my sister. I was like, I want to be the one to show this group like what I'm supposed to be. And I was very like, I was so stressed about that idea of people seeing her and like figuring this out. Yeah. And so I've had like this like thing in my mind this whole time where I'm like, they can't see me. And then it was just really interesting the way it all kind of came together, where I didn't foresee a situation where you had a drawing of me, you know? And so it was like, I don't know, I was just sitting by myself thinking about it, and I was like, this is a great moment, I guess, to finally have that conversation with Abe. And I think it was like a good like hurdle for Elowyn to get over as well, because I feel like it had been in my mind for so long where I was like, they can't see it, they can't know, I have to be like, they won't see me until I break this curse kind of thing. So it was kind of a cool moment to be like, oh, like actually, just a little bit. I'll show a couple people. We're testing the waters, you know?
That's so interesting. Do you think that was like, did you always intend for that to be kind of the catalyst of like having that conversation? Was like having something that was kind of revealing about yourself, or would you have eventually gotten there if like you hadn't gotten that drawing?
I don't know. I mean, we maybe would have done it eventually. I think Elowyn and Abe probably had like the least fleshed out relationship of any of the group in my mind. So I don't know how that was ever going to come up otherwise, but I don't know. I think Elowyn is like constantly like looking for like reasons to connect with people as well, and looking for someone to be like, do you get me? Like, do you understand? Like, I think that's why we had that conversation with Gideon before as well, because I was like, I think you understand where I'm coming from like a desperation standpoint, you know?
Right.
And so I think that was the same thing with Abe, where I was like, do you get me? Like, you and I both are like living in not our real bodies. Like, do you understand what I feel? I think is a conversation I've been trying to have with him for a long time, but I just like never really made sense. But then an excellent opportunity arose, so I took it.
I mean,
Nice.
it also made sense it took so long too, because like your relationship with Abe started off with "you're a terrifying monster," and that took a while to get over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I was wondering. Yeah, like how does Elowyn feel about Abe now? Because it's really only been in game a few months since that railway fight.
I
And
guess
obviously, like a
so.
lot has happened in that time to kind of like to change your perspective potentially.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has shifted. It was funny, like, because he brought that up in that conversation, and I'd almost, like, not that I'd forgotten, but that had not been top of mind for me for a long time. I hadn't been thinking about him that way. And I don't know if it was because of, like, when we were in Valenbridge and he, like, separated himself from Maladin, if that was the moment where I'm like, oh, he's fine, or if it was even earlier than that when I realized, like, more what it actually was and what was going on. But I don't think Elowyn's been scared of him for a long time. So it's nice, I guess, to finally get that out in the open. You're like,
Yeah, it's true.
it's okay. Oh, I'm on your side.
It's interesting because I feel like there is like a lot of stuff that like we probably discussed in a meta sense, but not in our characters sense. Like, and some of it I don't actually know if it'll ever end up coming up or if it's just something that like is just there, kind of like under the surface. Or yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Thinking
Yeah.
too about like I don't remember now what episode it was, but there was something where like in one of these after parties, Adam was talking about how like Abe was mad at me and it never came up. So I'm like, well,
I
it's probably
believe
fine.
it was for the warehouse. Was that not it?
I think that's correct. Because he's like, I
Yes,
had
that
it under
makes sense.
control, like I was invisible.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so we have not talked about it, and I'm like, I don't know if that's still true. I mean, I never knew if it was real, anyways, in character. So
I mean, to be
but
fair,
I
he
dreaded
was,
it forever for the next episode. I was like, oh, he's gonna bring this up. It's gonna be such an intense convo.
I mean, if there's something to gauge off of in comparison, like he was also mad at Gideon and they had their conversation. You see how that went, so I'm sure he's probably just been like grumble and then forgave Nell.
Yeah.
'Cause that
No,
seems,
he's just been festering like a
Yeah.
deep hatred for me.
I really cannot see Abe being like that.
No, me neither. And neither can Nell. That's why she's like, everything's good. No concerns here. So, oh yeah, so the next thing that I want to bring up is we began our journey to the Pearly Pass. And in doing so, we stopped at the inn that pre-campaign is where Draq and I initially met. And I received my pack name, Wild Spark, which I like a lot. I thought that was very good. Can you run down again? I think I asked you this last time too, but can you run down for me what everyone is, like what everyone's name is now?
Yeah, sure. Let me just open up the list here.
I'm Steel Soul.
Ooh,
To that
Sure.
effect.
That's cool.
Okay.
Sounds like a Pokemon thing.
Ooh. Go, Steel Soul. You're right, it does.
Yeah.
Or it's like a Pokemon move.
Yeah,
All
or
right.
like a type.
I haven't given Abe his yet because I'm still thinking of it. But I think I have it. But I'm not going to say it yet. So Azaria's is Genu Ankin, which means great teacher. Elowyn's is Vaith Sepa, which means steel soul. Gideon is Vehafor de Glira, which means creator of fullness. And then Nell is Ajiki Nexiu, which means wild spark.
Cheeky in it. Sorry. That's all I heard from that.
I also heard it.
He in it? I mean, that
Okay,
also works.
yeah. Seems fitting. Oh man. This is a joint question for both you and me, Anthony. What was it like for Nell and Draq to reflect back on this time before the party was fully established?
I think it was a scary time for Draq because he wasn't sure like where he should go, what he should do. Where's his brother at? He doesn't know. And he was just kind of looking for a sign, anything to point him in the right direction, and there you came along.
What's up? Yeah, it's interesting to think, like, because I think it would have been maybe like a couple of days, or maybe longer, probably like a 10-day or something, from when like the ceremony happened. So for now, it was like very like special to have met someone, and like it would have been like her first like truly made friend, not just like a relative that she had. But yeah, it's crazy to think about, like, that would have been in game, I think 3 months prior, and then like everything that's happened to bring us back there. It's so crazy.
It's awesome. I love it.
So that was a very sweet moment.
And then for us in like real time, it's like crazy to go back like 2 years when we were doing these like mini sessions before the campaign. Like had that one with you two. I think it was mostly discussions with Logan and Dallis, and then Abe and Ryan, we mostly just had like a text pre-game. Yeah.
You and I ran the Willala scene together.
Well, yeah, we had the one-on-one for sure.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah, it was interesting to think back to that, because it's like didn't really know like fully what Nell was going to be like during that like initial session 0 or whatever, right? So it's kind of cool to like,
I actually
see.
took notes during that too.
Yeah.
And one of the notes I put down was, Nell, seems nice, very outgoing, has lots of questions, seems to be hiding something. I get the sense that she and I are kindred spirits, 2 wanderers on a mission.
That's so cute.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I love that. It asks a lot of questions. That hasn't changed. Which is good, because that was always an integral part of what I wanted Nell to be. So. And just in general, how I play characters for D&D campaigns. It's like, why not be curious?
It's important to have. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So as we entered the Pearly Pass, Gideon decides to plant his bean, which summons a bullet. Teni, in the last after party, you goaded us, the players, into planting these beans.
Listen.
Yeah, Teni, we brought you here today.
Yeah, which is what prompted Ryan to do so, because he's a good player and, you know, he takes it seriously when you suggest things. How did you feel seeing, like, the result of what he had rolled? Like, what was about to be summoned?
This was one of those moments where I was so disappointed in the dice that I was tempted to fudge the result. I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Another fucking bullet, and this is not going to want to make them plant more beans. Upon asking Ryan, because we knew he wasn't going to be here today, I wanted to get his experience with the bean bullet, and quote unquote, Ryan said, it was certifiably not a good time.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a terrible time.
No.
Like,
Honestly,
to
like, I think it ended up being really funny that, like, you had something, you know, to present to the elders, like, you've got more materials.
Worked out that way.
It's just hilarious that Gideon also got chomped. I mean, I'm sorry, Gideon, you rolled really poorly on the D100.
It's your fault.
Plant another bean, please.
Just be
I think we were
luckier.
all going to then. We were like, we made a pact. We're like, all right, we'll plant the stupid beans. And then we had to rest.
Yeah, I still will at some point. It's just in an area that feels safe. So, like, we haven't really had a good opportunity to do
since
it
then.
since.
Yeah,
honestly,
I mean, like,
for Draq, seeing like a creature come out of a bean is very exciting for him, because then he doesn't have to actually hunt anything. There's a possibility that it will just come to him, and he could deal with it that way. That's so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, like,
because the hunting part's the boring part.
Yeah,
I suppose that is true. And, you know, the thing with the beans too, it's like, it's not that any of the results are like, what I should say is all the results are, no, I can't even say that. I was going to say all the results are chaotic, but the blue flame clearly was underwhelming from when you guys planted it near Brol Bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, then don't say anything.
yeah.
Keep us in suspense.
I'm just gonna say, as per these items, usually there are good and bad things.
Well, I mean, I
Right.
think we've
Sometimes
seen
both.
like that spectrum. Yeah, because like,
Fire, bullet.
yeah, because like, yeah, we've kind of seen
the whole
like,
spectrum of things.
well, I mean, it's kind of like, yeah,
That's
sure,
two
like
ends of the
maybe
scale right there.
like underwhelming and then like, you know, intense,
Mhm.
scary, whatever. So at this point, I'm like, I don't know, literally anything could happen. Just
I
I
mean-
want to be in like an empty field when I do it. Just in
Yeah.
case.
I mean, I was so unprepared. This was one of those times where I was like, I have no battle map. We have to do this theater of the mind because I'm not gonna bother with this bullshit. We fought
That was
this
great.
before. We handled
Yeah.
it pretty well as far as a random encounter went.
Yeah.
But
Fun,
yeah.
quick and dirty fight.
Yeah.
I think it just shot a little spark of electricity into the session anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
It's
And if
because
we
you had-
hadn't had that fight, how many episodes would we go without a fight?
Yeah.
I guess
True.
it was the episode before we'd had a fight, right? So it would have been only 2 or 3.
Yeah.
That's too many.
Yeah. I was like, without that was a good chunk of time that we just talked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as much as Denny, you wanted to like fudge the roll, potentially, like I do still think like the dice tell a story because it is a funny story, like canonically, like in character for us to be like, that's so funny. Like now we just like we're just the bullet people, you know. Like, every
Yeah.
time we just get stronger, and so we're gonna be so good at slaying bullets.
Mhm.
Well, like I said, I was only tempted. I have not fudged any dice rolls in this campaign. That is something as a DM, I just don't do it. Don't fudge the dice.
Also,
However,
it's kind of like
That's
funny
why we do.
that-
That's why I allow you guys to do your death saves like behind the screen. It's like I'm not gonna fudge your dice, but honestly, if you want to, that's on you.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was an
Start
option.
rolling them in person. That was how
Yeah.
Logan. We played that in Logan's campaign. I truthfully, I like that. I like that rule.
I
I'm
didn't
like,
realize-
we're not there. I'm not done with the story.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Mhm.
But if you're like, oh, I want to believe in the heart of the dice, you let that happen.
Yeah, it's whatever game you guys want to play. And like, if you want to see your story through, or if you want the dice to end your story prematurely, feel free.
That's good to know. I truly did not know that. I guess we had discussed that at some point, but I did not remember.
I didn't
so
know that
it's-
was a rule here either.
Yeah,
I just knew
really,
other
like-
people didn't see it, but I thought you did.
I do.
Yeah, I thought we. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so I
So-
can't fudge them if you see what I'm rolling.
But you can.
Well, I like
Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind.
because I guess like I feel.
like you
it would really
send me
depend,
your
like,
results,
how-
and I go, I'm not done, and I go,
Oh, okay.
all right.
Yeah, good. Okay, that makes sense.
Actually, no.
It would really depend on the context of it, but that's good to know that I could just be like, not done here, unless you want me to play a dragon rider, which I feel like would really fuck your shit up. So, because that's what's gonna happen if Nell dies. So,
There are lore implications, but yeah, sure.
oh, I know. That's why it's a threat. It's like, don't kill her.
It's a threat.
So after the bullet fight, in the evening, Draq meditates on returning home, and you have kind of a really nice moment of connection with the Bear of Light.
Homie.
Yeah, our best friend, the bear. How was Draq feeling in this moment about returning home, especially seeing as you didn't succeed in your original mission of bringing Boz back with you?
Definitely bittersweet. Like, very excited to be back home and see like all of his loved ones and tell them of his fantastic journeys so far, but then also have to break the news of, yeah, Boz is still out there and he's doing some questionable shit, so what's the deal with that? And then also the fear of having to bring that to the elders as well. So, a little bit of good, a little bit of bad.
Yeah, that makes sense. As
This is-
you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, this felt like one of those moments where I was like, I don't believe that like Anthony and Denny don't plan things behind the scene, because it felt like it like fits so nicely together. Where Anthony's like, "Well, I'm gonna go meditate," and you're like, "Oh, perfect. Here's a vision of a bear." Like, it was so beautiful the way it all worked out. I'm like, you guys are talking.
Is
He
it
didn't talk about that, no.
Is it just kind of the DM hive mind?
Maybe. Might be that. But
Well, I mean, basically anytime that, well, like in this campaign, you guys have known, like, I'll dispense information or cryptic information through dreams or whatever. Meditation's just another opportunity for me.
yeah.
Well,
And the precedent has
very
been
cool.
set before too. So
Yeah, that's fair.
that's the
Had
first time
you-
I've seen a bear in my dreams, so that's cool.
I see bears in my dream every single night.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
First time
Like-
it's deigned to visit me.
I can lucid dream, but only for bears. Had you thought at all, or had Draq thought at all of like the potential connection between Darokarth and the Druid Enclave and like what that all meant?
I don't know if Draq has had time to think about it, because his thought going towards the mountains was mostly like, what am I going to tell the elders? What am I going to tell my mother? You know, what gifts can I get for my friends? So I don't think he's made any sort of thought towards that, but I've definitely been like, okay, so there's this part of my people that is like very old and unknown. What's the deal with all these caves underneath with all the writing? Alumbrites are a thing apparently, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more later. And then big old castle that was built super long ago. What's the deal with that? Does that have any druid relation? I don't know. Draq doesn't know. Maybe other people know. They ain't gonna tell me.
We'll get into the Lumbrite stuff at the very end. I want to talk about it forever and right now, but I'll be patient. So, yeah. So as we continue up the mountain, we begin to encounter just like a smattering of undead. Just one humanoid, and then just like a just general ambiance of some sort of flying creature that we can't see, which was really fun. Loved that. We kind of got like a little bit of confirmation from the elders later that this had to do with the imbalance that Boz was seeking out. And I'm wondering if anyone else has any theories about them. I'm wondering if it's like similar to how the previous Druid Enclave had kind of a corruption going through it.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
That's
I
really
hadn't
interesting.
made
That's an
that
interesting
connection
theory. Yeah.
until right now.
I didn't have to come up with that until I was writing it out.
Hmm.
For the questions today, I was like, oh, like what, like where are they coming from? What's causing it? And I'm like, oh, well, I guess there were creatures in the other enclave, right? Like there was like
Yes.
shit there that we had to fight that wasn't meant to be there. Although I think it was a lot of fish people at first, right? But
Yeah, it was like
Well-
fish and ooze.
yeah,
It was all like void stuff, right?
Yeah. So do you think this is gonna be like undead stuff?
Well, interesting. I think I was thinking that they were all going to be like that, but that's an interesting idea that this one is undead, the other one's void.
Because presumably
interesting.
void things could manifest in different ways.
You're right. Who knows?
It's true. we don't know enough about it yet, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
Fascinating.
fascinating. This thing that haunts us.
Well, to add another
Interesting.
ingredient to the pot, because I love that you guys are theorizing about this, but like each of these enclaves you're tracking down, yeah, I guess tin hat theories and whatnot. I throw the little emote for myself. Like each of these enclaves are also associated with an element too, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
like
the last one was water.
This
Mhm.
one's air, I think.
Sure are.
Gotta be.
This one we're about to go into, I definitely know which it is, but for our viewers at home, if you want to tell them.
Well,
Well-
it's I don't think we know, but I think we're theorizing it's air, right?
Air makes
Oh.
sense, considering Vishti is the god of air for the druids.
yeah,
That's
and that
sense.
information has been
Right.
shared with you guys.
Yeah. It's also
Sure.
a castle in the sky or something. So
Yeah.
I have
That
a
makes
question. Have I been misunderstanding what Castle of the Sky means this whole time? Is it in a sky on a mountain, or is it floating in the sky? In these stories we've heard. Draq,
I feel like it's
tell me.
I think it's floating.
I think it's
'Cause
floating.
that's how I've been imagining it.
Yeah.
Because
It's actually
you can't
okay. I might.
see from the sieve that Rhea saw through the water temple. There's nothing around. There's no mountains. So presumably,
Actually-
even if it was at the peak of a mountain, you'd still see other things.
Well, I meant to go back and rewatch that because I was trying to figure out as well if I had misinterpreted that, because I feel like we saw, like, it was like you could see the clouds from atop, but then I was like, are we like at the top of a mountain that's poking through the clouds though, and looking down?
I don't know.
I don't know. Because in my mind, that's why I didn't. Okay, I'm getting way ahead of myself, but that's why I was surprised we got there at the end of this last episode, because I was like, in my brain, we have to figure out how to get into the sky.
Okay, I'm actually
Well, I
going to
don't
jump
think
ahead
we're-
then because I have like something to say about that, which is like two things. Firstly, when we were in the oh no, my thoughts just left entirely. Oh, when we were with Nava and we went to the Darokarth like library essentially. You and I both found a scroll, and the one that I ended up reading was about the day where the cloud cover breaks and there's like the lights and everything. And there's been records of people seeing what they believe to be a city in the sky. So that is my assumption that that's kind of like the same from that story that we heard. I think that's connected. But then I had another question, which was like from the episode 42, when we entered the bear cave, the question I have for that was like, did anyone else wait, I'm gonna go and find exactly how I wrote it. Did anyone else think that the bear would lead us into the sky and not into a cave?
I mean,
I was expecting like oh, there's gonna be like, I had it all vision that we're gonna follow the bear and it's gonna like create like steps of light for us to like go through, and then we're gonna like go up into the Aurora Borealis or something. Like that's what I thought.
That would be wild.
I mean, I don't know what I
there's a
was
fucking
thinking,
bear
but it
flight, and
wasn't
there's
that we
a
were
thing in the
gonna
sky,
end up
like-
in a cave. Yeah.
Yeah. I also don't
I
think
know.
we're in the sky
Yeah.
yet either. So
And I don't even
Well-
think we've really gotten that far north yet either, because like we weren't in that
Doesn't
cave for
feel
very
like it.
long. So I mean,
It's
there's a
possible
chance
there's,
that
like,
there's still more to
some-
go. We're just seeing like the very first.
And it's possible there's like some teleportation shit or something that's gonna happen here once we start to
Yeah.
explore this. Because, okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one though, because I started to be like, is it been
Oh, yeah,
clear
yeah.
that this has been a castle like at the top of a mountain and not actually in the sky this whole time, and I'm just have been picturing it wrong? But okay.
No, fully,
there with
it's
you,
been in my
Antonio.
head in the sky because
Okay.
every time it's brought up,
Yeah.
I get the song from Les Mis stuck in my head, like the castle in the cloud or whatever it is.
Yeah.
like- so, yeah.
I'm just picturing the Ghibli movie.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we'll circle back to that when we get to that section.
Okay.
But I do have some other like questions.
I have more
about-
things to say about this as well. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Okay, great. Yeah. All right. So the next kind of major thing that happens is as we're getting closer to Darokarth, we come across the Root of Life or Rowanay Springs, which was very beautiful. Like the narration of that little scene was so calming and peaceful. And as is our way, Abe goes swimming. Oh, this thing that it's kind of holy and no one's ever swum in it. We will.
We later decided that we have been in it before, so it's fine.
Oh, okay. We
Yeah,
did
yeah.
retcon that. All
We
right.
did retcon that, yeah. Because it makes sense. Like, it would be like almost like a baptism, probably.
Okay. So not just like a casual like swimming.
I mean, but probably people swim in there anyways.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Some of the animals probably also are just like, you know what? Fuck it.
Animals probably take a pee in there from time to time, so.
But it's like a holy thing, so it just gets evaporated.
Animals
Take
don't
a
care.
sip of the holy pace.
Yeah. It's warm
Welcome to the holy
with
pace
the light
pond.
of God.
All right, let's
Delicious.
move on.
Well, I think it was a
Um,
good
Just
call
fine.
for Abe to go in there. We now know that shit can be at the bottom of pools. Now we gotta
Yeah.
check all the pools.
Gotta check all the pools. It's so important.
Every single body of water we come across. Abe,
Who
get,
knows?
get down there, buddy.
Get down there,
Yeah.
buddy.
I've created a dangerous precedent.
Yes, you have.
I was hoping that the two of you could speak a little bit more about the creation of the springs because it has been on the map since the very beginning of the campaign, right?
Mhm.
But Anthony, did you have any like say on anything to do with it when it was
Um,
like Darokarth related in the creation of that, or no?
I mean, it was nearby on the map, and the map existed, I think, before and that's where it's going to be. And it's near a body of water, so they have access to water. And they're probably going to refer to it as a name that is other than the rest of the world. So to them, this is the root of life, because this is where they get their water, and water is the root of life. So that's about as far as we got originally, I think.
Yeah,
and then we've slowly built it out over time.
Mm-hmm.
So what secret information were you given about it? Just curious. Oh no, not allowed to share. Interesting.
I don't have any secret information about it.
This is what we think to be one of the sites of a lake, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we know that in character.
I believe we do. We have the information that would point us towards that.
Okay. Great. It's always just good to double check, because like half the time I'm like, I can't. Oh yeah, so we meet Danu and Tazmash. Did I get that right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sweet, nailed it. And travel with them to Darokarth. And then I'm just kind of going to turn it back over to you guys to discuss the creation of Darokarth, because I want to know about like that collaboration. Yeah, go nuts, go wild.
Boy. I gotta bring up my doc, Danny. You start talking.
Sure. So, I mean, and I'm going to kind of compare this in contrast with how Christy and I developed Varmhall Village. With the both of you, like, I set up documents to, like, begin fleshing out and, like, asked you guys a bunch of the similar questions about, like, fleshing it out. Are there interesting features about your home? You know, you guys also brought in NPCs, so it was easy to kind of populate the place. We talked about government structures and whatnot. And it was funny how they kind of ended up being a little, like, reflective of each other, the two of you specifically. And the difference being that with Christy and mine's process, like, we were discussing, and I was drawing out the map as we were going and kind of, like, fleshing that out. Whereas with Anthony, it was more like, what vision do you have? And because you're a map drawer yourself and a DM, you kind of came to me with the image, and I was like, all right, now I will become inspired, and we will... Where you found the site for Darokarth on my map, now you have brought me your map, and we will begin finding the sites there.
Yeah. There was a lot of, I'm referencing you, who's referencing me, who's referencing you, who's then referencing me, and then referencing you. It was just kind of reference.
We really were bouncing off each other and building as like, ooh, but what if this? Oh, well, what does that mean? Okay, well, what if this? All right, so if that's there and this is here, that, ooh, why don't we add this? And then Abe goes, yeah, there's a geyser. Me and you were both like, yes, there is a geyser.
Of course there's a geyser.
It's canon now.
It's canon. For sure that's what, like, spurred the hot springs existing, so...
Yeah.
When did he bring up a geyser?
It was, I think he was talking about the hot springs and he thought we were referring to a geyser. And originally
and then we were like, oh, that makes sense because there would have to be some volcanic activity for there to be hot springs, so there's probably a geyser somewhere.
And Adam was like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to, like, input on your village.
Adam
we were both
Adam.
Like, no, it's real. You've done it.
Give me the input.
Was that that episode?
Yeah, that was during...
Yeah.
It might have been 41, but one of them.
Cool. I have no recollection of this at all, so that's great.
And then basically, like, I Google searched a bunch of images of, like, mountain villages and looked up information about how those would exist and how they would best function. So, like, the idea of permanent tents or yurts really stuck with me, and like having them all interconnected, like a mini village within a village. So like Draq's home, for example, like all the little connected tents, like that's pretty much every homestead in the village is like that, with the exception of some that are just individual tents that surround a central, like, cooking place or a fireplace.
That's super cool. I also wanted to discuss a little bit about the similarities between our two villages, because we did not, like, discuss anything to do with, like, backstories until, and like even the, like when we were discussing like arc session 0 where we knew each other, like we didn't bring up our villages at all, really.
No.
So it's kind of like come out like organically to be like, huh, we've like done something really similar here, which is kind of cool. Because like originally, like I had an idea of having like the way like your parents have like their titles. I was planning on doing something like that until I made it way too complicated and was like, no. But yeah, I'm wondering like if there was something that inspired both of us to do that, or if it just like happened naturally.
We'd have to go back and remember what media we were consuming at that time.
No, because I feel like mine was really from like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but you didn't play that, so.
I didn't. I did watch you
like,
play that a lot though.
Yeah, I mean it's similar, but it's different because like you're definitely like yours feels more like you were saying like mountainous, like your stuff, and mine is much more like Viking kind of village, but it's like that communal sense I think is both like.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
and
with
then,
the
of
big
course,
temple, the meeting center, being like the centerpiece of the village at the very top. Like I feel like that's very communal, very Viking longhouse style. But instead of a longhouse, it's just like an outdoor courtyard where everyone hangs out.
Well, I mean, yeah, your guys' character class has also helped add some particular flavor to your villages, because of course Christie's is like, you know, a deific order of paladins, and Anthony's is more like a tribal, like monks and hunters and.
Yeah. Very cool. I am glad there's certain things that I changed though, so they're not like 100% identical, because I like each have their own kind of flavor.
Well, as I've been telling anybody in this campaign who's been worried about like copying things of other people, sorry, Dallis.
Calling me out.
It will never be truly the same because you two are different people. So even if you came in with the same idea, there will be your individuality on that take.
And then in like a meta sense of the story, I feel like that's a big theme that we're exploring in this campaign, is how no matter how far apart you are geographically, there's always going to be some similarities that you can connect on.
Dallis, what was that a reference to just now? What were you worried about copying?
I am forever worried about copying Logan's character from the last campaign, especially since becoming a wizard. Now I'm like, now I'm just playing also a not growing child, and now I'm also a wizard. I had to ask Teni when I was picking a familiar. I was like, what did Logan have as a familiar? Because I won't pick the same one. Picking my own thing.
What was
a different
Logan's
character?
familiar?
Yeah.
An owl, which is what I wanted to pick originally, but then I
no.
wouldn't do it.
It was an owl that Logan and I constantly forgot about, so it was almost never there.
Well, I've fully forgotten about your cat several times now, so
that's
it's kind of the
okay.
same.
It's really just there for me to pet when I feel sad.
I constantly forget about Grobo. I have a sign on my computer that's like, where is Grobo? I gotta put it in a more eye-level spot.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The cat at least can like be disappeared.
Yeah.
Just exists in a...
Grobo goes to the safety zone within Azaria's hair, so
yeah,
fine.
there is a freaking pocket dimension in there.
Must be.
What is the this wouldn't actually work, but we're gonna say it does. What's this? Oh yeah, the spell I always want and I've wanted forever, the wrist pocket spell that Matt made. So there's a version of wrist pocket in Azaria's hair, and Grobo goes in there. Do you know this spell, Teni? I feel like I've talked about it before.
I am not certain.
Oh, okay. So it's from the first campaign of Critical Role. Scanlan's daughter had it, and it's basically like how she was able to thieve. So it's like you can like steal stuff and like hide. It's called, I think it's either a cantrip or a first level spell.
It's first level.
First level, yeah, that makes sense. So you actually have to be fucking smart about when you cast it, but you can, you like hide things into this like little mini dimension.
Yeah,
basically.
I think you can only have like one thing in there at one time, but yeah.
Interesting.
But I'm obsessed with this spell. I want it so bad.
It's very cool.
You flick your wrist. Hurry up. Causing one object in your hand to vanish. Can weigh no more than 5 pounds, and it's transported to extra-dimensional space. And it lasts for an hour, so it'll come
Is it
out.
a first level?
Whoa, it's second level? What the fuck?
You know what?
That also makes sense to me.
No, it should be a cantrip.
No.
No.
Nobody owns anything if it's a cantrip.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can only do one thing at a time, and it only lasts for an hour. So you still have to be like judicious. Like I would say, first level will be fine.
It's
Second
24
level,
hours in a day.
shitty.
This is my 3-foot pencil because somebody kept stealing mine.
It weighs 5.1 pounds.
That's right.
Ha,
Yeah,
got it.
everything's measured out.
I do actually have a funny story quickly about Robo. Says our friend Melanie has been catching up on the series, and she was like telling me on the phone like where she was at. And I was like, oh, what are the different episode titles? Because I can't remember just based on number. And she's like, oh yeah, the one I'm about to start, or like, yeah, I think she's about to start it, is like wax on the candle or whatever it is. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my birthday episode. And she was reading, she's like, the funeral of Grobo.
Oh no.
Forgot that we had that part of the title. I laughed so hard, but I have not told her like that it's fine. She's like, no, I love Grobo. So it'll be fun for her when she actually watches the episode to realize that like Grobo's fine still with us.
God.
So
Master level clickbait.
yeah, it's so fucking funny. It's like, I think this is exactly what we wanted to have happen with that title.
Yep.
So
Yep. That's perfect.
Anyway.
We made an emote for him in honor of his memory.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she didn't realize that like in this art that Grobo is there in Azaria's hair, and I had to point it out to her. So she was like, "Oh, he's so cute." Anyway, moving right along, we finally meet Draq's parents, Right Scale and Silver Tongue, and Draq fills them in on the situation with the druids and also Boz. I think you kind of mentioned before, like leading up to this, it was feeling bittersweet, but how was the actual moment of this, like reuniting with his parents?
Very nice. I think Draq was a person who really respects his parents and looks up to them because they're very inspirational people. Like they've done a lot for the village, hence their titles, and he feels like he has big shoes to fill. So them being who they are, but also still supporting him, even if he, in his own mind, failed, is a big moment for him, I think. Being able to come back home empty-handed, but still get love is good to know he still has that.
Yeah, that's really nice. I feel like you filled them in on everything, and then like made your mom really sad, which made me sad. She seems super sweet. But and then I think this episode just ended with meeting your friends Ito. And did we actually meet Nava this episode? She like barged in on us,
yes.
right?
And then she barged out very quickly after.
Yes.
I like her.
She's
great.
very fun.
I'm gonna pick your brain about her later.
Okay.
We'll also have to post the hero forges you made for your friends in the Discord.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, I forgot about those.
What? We haven't even seen them.
Wait, have I ever posted my siblings?
Where are you guys holding all this information from?
I'm sorry, Dallis.
Oops. Yeah, we'll have to do some posting.
I have to put it into my notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
One
I
of
have
these
some
days,
of my siblings as well.
One of these days, I'll have to do an art stream and like actually draw out some NPCs that are unattached to characters.
Oh.
Like, well, I mean, like Charity, like, is not one of anybody's NPCs, for example.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Like
Nivera,
Smart.
if you were looking for
Nivera, Nyx
options.
Domino, or Draq.
Oh, Nyx would look so fucking cool.
Draq. Can you draw Sarze?
Yeah, I should get around to that
That's for a
too.
treat.
Just so
I also want to
stare at her a little bit.
Yeah, I also want to see I forget her name, the pink tiefling that runs Valenbridge.
Oh.
Oh.
She's not
her
pink.
name?
She's just human colored. The pink tiefling was back in
Human colored?
What? Are you
What the
sure?
fuck does that
human
mean,
colored.
Denny?
Yeah. Well, pick a color, and that's the correct
I
one.
swear I have peach written down.
Yeah. Did you?
Sure.
Okay, Dallas.
Peach is a
Dallas
good
gets it.
human color. But
I
there's
guess.
a pink
I guess.
Not what I was
tiefling
picturing.
back
Yeah,
that
read
did like
Astrid
glass
Grand.
work.
All I
Yes.
wrote down is tiefling peach skin.
Sure.
Okay, so I wasn't wrong. It's just
Sure.
like, yeah, I get that you meant the human color, but I think in tiefling form that translates to pink.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, there's an actual pink tiefling that makes glass in Star. I'm getting my Star Towns confused now. Starcross. No. Yes. Yes.
From like episode 2, the one that we
Yeah.
had to give the glass. Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that you guys set up the engagement party for.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Oh
no,
my
I was
God,
not
that
thinking
one?
about them at all. The
Yeah, that's
only
all.
context I have for that memory is like Elowyn's reaction to it.
Yeah.
'Cause I
That's
pinged
about
that
what I
right
remember
away.
too.
And then I was like, I'll think about this for 25 episodes or whatever. And then bring it up. Okay, yeah. Right, Astrid. That's right. That was
Astrid
her
Grand, yeah.
name. I liked her.
Yeah, I'll have
that's
to do art for her as well.
yeah,
And
pretty much all I had. Oh,
and our Bardic College friend there, whose name is slipping my
Let's see.
mind.
Also, the Chandier in
Yes.
Pearl Bar, is that one? She also
Oh,
sounds
Shan-
very cool from.
Chandier Tarset.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
her
yeah.
stuff.
Marinus.
I would kill for Papar.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
You love the Papar. We gotta go back to
He's
them
so
someday.
Cute.
There are
Yeah.
so many NPCs that exist in this game.
And they're all
Tyrone?
great.
Oh,
Tyrone.
Tyrone.
Damn.
This is a fun episode. We just talk about all the great NPCs that exist.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even need to draw Tyrone. You got a perfect picture of him
That
already.
was pretty cute.
He looks like Franklin.
Yeah.
In my mind, but with a fence.
Time out. Everyone who's watching in chat and watching on YouTube, go join our Discord where I've just posted the Hero Forge links for Ido, and Nava.
Whoa.
Put it links in the chat.
Nice.
Discord's the last one.
And hey, unless you have anything you want to say about Ito, because I really liked Ito, that's all I had for this episode. So people could go look at him on the quick break that we're about to take. Unless you, again, if you want to talk about Ito at all, because
I really love Ido. I think that I would love to do. I'm not sure if we're ever gonna go back to Darokarth to like deal with an Ido-centric story because he's missing half of his horn because it got destroyed by a creature on a hunt, and we never saw the creature.
does he look like King from Owl House?
I mean, half of his horn is broken. Go look at the Hero Forge mini to see. But I would love to like go back and do, I don't know, a one shot or something where we hunt that monster that took Ito's horn and bring it back to him.
Whoa.
I think
That'd be
that'd be a
cute.
lot of fun.
I like that.
But the original voice that Denny pitched to me for Ito was like Patrick Warburton.
Oh yeah. Welcome home, Draq. It's so good to see you.
Oh my god.
And
That should
I
have been
loved it
Nava's
so much.
voice.
Should have been Nava's voice. Draq,
I really
dude.
loved it, but I couldn't. I pictured him too much as having like, hey, it's me, Ito, the little guy, tell his story.
The little buddy voice.
Little buddy voice, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, we got, hey, Draq, do you want to take a walk to the hot springs with me?
I think that's great.
I
Why
gotta
can't a
go.
woman have that voice, huh?
I'm gonna get in trouble if I take you all down into the caves, but I think I can do it this time.
God.
And you sound
good.
frantic in a Patrick Warburton voice, though.
Yes, I can sound frantic in a Patrick Warburton
Oh,
voice.
God.
You just gotta get all
sound
yelly.
scary. Yeah, it was scary.
Yeah. Sorry.
Also,
got
what the
two
heck?
volumes.
You pitched your voices to. You got pitched voices. I think I just like assumed that Danny will
I
just
know
pick
he
the
only
best voice.
pitched. He only pitched Ito's. That was it.
Huh.
So interesting.
What?
I was gonna
Oh.
say I don't think I ever like you'd never like pitch a voice of someone to me. I just trusted that you knew what you're doing with voices. Other than me being like really anal about the speaking in giant stuff, but
I mean-
that was me doing it to you.
I mean, it came up organically. Like we were just talking. We were like world building and stuff. And
I was just having a laugh. I was like, I should just make this
Ah.
guy's voice Patrick Warburton.
Yeah.
Anthony's like, please
see.
don't.
Oh, fun. All right, so I guess we'll take a quick 5 minute
Sounds
Sounds
good.
then-
good.
We'll be back to talk about the next episode, number 41, Dragon Home.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, this is the end of your video. We'll see you next time. But for everybody else,
Bye.
we'll be back in a bit.